Morning, peeps. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. How's everyone doing? Hopefully, you're all doing very, very well. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. Don't forget as well to like and share the vid. Spread the word, people. Spread the word. Before we talk boxing, and there's loads to talk about, isn't there? I just want to say thank you so much to all the feedback on the video I put out yesterday. Incredible feedback. I've read every single one of your comments, and yeah, thank you so much. That's why I've not done a video in a few days, just because we've been getting that video ready. Now the idea was to, as you saw in the end of the video, to be in the studio right now. That was the idea. There is a small delay. There's been delays constantly, but we're gonna get there, right? It's there. The studio is over there. It's 99% done. Just small minor things, but I'm excited. I'm excited for the next chapter. I wanted you guys to know my story because I feel like we engage a lot, right? I mean, on the Q&As, the comment section, Instagram, whatever, we engage a lot. And I feel like you kind of know me, but you don't really know me, like from the ground up. So I want to kind of go all the way back and kind of to where we are now. We actually left a lot out. Some things I thought maybe weren't right for the video. We had to cut a lot out. In total, I think it was nearly 2 hours worth of filming, all condensed into what, 45 minutes. So yeah, there's more to me, but I think that was a lot of it. So yeah, thank you so much for the feedback. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. All right, let's talk boxing. Let's kind of put that to the side right now. Let's talk boxing. Obviously, look, massive fights this weekend. We are going to do a live watch along. I was supposed to go to Liverpool. I'm still scheduled to go to Liverpool, but I'm probably not going to go just because I want to do a live watch along. I do want to do it in the studio. I'm desperate to do it in the studio, but if not, we'll do it here. But we are definitely going to do a live watch along. What I'm trying to decide is, do I do a live watch along for the Liverpool card as well, and then have a little break and then do the Fury Wilder card, or do we just do the Fury Wilder card? What I do know is that we're definitely doing the Fury Wilder card. I just need to decide whether or not I want to do a long day and do everything. The reason I'm deciding is because if I'm in the studio, then I'm going to have a couple of people with me. That's the plan, for all to like go off in the studio. If I'm doing it by myself, then I'm probably just going to do the Fury Wilder because it's a long slog. It's strange, as Fury Wilder fight. I didn't care about it. I didn't want it. You know, after the second fight, when we found out there was talks of a third fight and litigation and all these type of terms, I was like, oh, come on. Like, we don't really need it. We don't really want it. Can't lie to you. I am fully invested in it now. Like, fully invested. I can't wait for it. I mean, anything can happen in that fight. Anything. I love when people are so adamant with their picks. Like, Fury's going to do this and Wilder's going to do that. I'm like, have you not been watching boxing for the last fucking 100 years? Anything can happen. This is heavyweight boxing, and Wilder looks determined and focused, and Fury looks like Fury, like relaxed and arrogant / confident, and it's going to be fantastic. For as long as it lasts, that fight will be action-packed. Wilder, I think, will attack Fury. I don't think it's going to sit off. There is a lot of talk about the game plan and maybe Wilder sitting off and trying to box Fury. No. He's not going to, especially after what we saw with AJ Usyk, he's not going to try and box the boxer. I think he knows what he's got to offer. And I think we might see him implement different things, like go to the body a bit, right? We've seen a lot of these sparring clips where he's got, sorry, not sparring clips, little pad work where he's gone to the body. He might do that, but Wilder is Wilder. He's not a one-trick pony, but the one trick he does have is a very good trick, and it's that right hand, right? That right hand is crazy. So I have no idea what to expect. I really don't. You know, would I be surprised if Wilder knocks out Fury? A bit, right? A bit surprised, but I mean, it wouldn't be the biggest upset in boxing history. Do you know what I mean? It wouldn't be. Would I be shocked if Fury knocks out Wilder? No, because we've kind of seen him not knock out Wilder before, but we've seen him stop him. So yeah, intrigued. I'm intrigued as to what Malik Scott has added. I know a lot of people, including myself, You know, I think Malik Scott's got a massive boxing brain because he's, you know, obviously a former boxer himself. He's been around loads of different camps, right? He's like, there was a period for about 5 years where Malik Scott seemed to be in everyone's heavyweight camp. Like, you always just saw Malik Scott on the side and, oh, Malik Scott's been in this camp sparring. So, I mean, he's soaked up a lot. That doesn't mean he's going to necessarily be a good trainer. It doesn't. I think that's too easy to say, oh, because he's been in camps and because he's been boxing, he's gonna be a good trainer. I don't think it's like that. I really don't. So look, I can't wait. I don't know what to tell you. I'm just uber excited about it. Gun to the head, you have to go Fury, right? I mean, Fury won the first fight, won the second fight. You have to go Fury. And don't say the first fight was a draw. It wasn't a draw. He won the first fight. So look, you have to pick Fury. But this Wilder looks so determined and motivated and scary and angry. You just don't know, right? You just don't know. I don't know how people can sleep on someone that has that much punch power. I mean, it's real punch power. It's not a joke. Like, this is genuine one punch KO. One punch. So Fury lets his guard down for 5 seconds and Wilder hits him clean. I don't think we've seen him hit him clean yet. Like, even the 2 knockdowns in the first fight, they weren't. The first one, by the way, was a left hand? Sorry, the second knockdown where Fury got up like the Undertaker. It wasn't clean. If he hits him clean, like he did Luis Ortiz and Dominic Brazil, I don't know if Fury's getting up from that. I don't know. But look, it's going to be fantastic. It's a great undercard as well. I've mentioned it so many times, but F.A. Jagba, Frank Sanchez is a great fight. Kaunaki Helenius should be a great fight as well. So it's a great night of boxing. It really is a great night of boxing. If Fury wins, I think the WBC have now done their ruling that they either try and make the undisputed fight, which I don't think they will do now because obviously AJ has pushed for the rematch with Usyk. If not, it will be the winner of Dillian Whyte versus Otto Wallin. So, look, we should have a good run of boxing regardless. What we don't want is, and as we've seen, especially with Fury and Wilder, for fighters to be out the ring for a year and a half. That's what we don't want. And I think we're not going to get that. I do think that we are going to see a lot of good action the next sort of 6 to 8 months. I really expect for the heavyweight division to be firing. Obviously, we get this one on the weekend, plus all the undercard. We get Dillian Whyte, Otto Wallin. We then get Chisora Parker. I don't know how many people are interested in that. And then come February, March, I think that's the kind of date we're hearing. We get the rematch between Joshua and Usyk. So loads to come. Loads to come. Kate Abdo's got a lot of stick. Well, not a lot. She got stick from Bob Arum for the way in which she conducted that interview and asked the guys to do a face-off. Bob's just a dinosaur. Like, what a dinosaur. I think Kate done a great job. I really do. And I don't think, if it wasn't for Kate, and look, I know this for a fact, that was a last-minute replacement. Not last minute, but I think she only got maybe a day's notice because she wasn't supposed to be the moderator. So she had to prep and do her stuff, which isn't easy. Take it from me, that kind of does a few things like that. But I don't think if it wasn't for Kate, I don't think Wilder's speaking. Honestly, I think Wilder's doing the headphone thing and not saying a word. I really believe that. But obviously he knows Kate, and I think that's the reason he opened up, and that's the reason it became quite a decent press conference. Let's not forget the one where Wilder had the headphones on and didn't want to say shit. At least we got some sort of venom from both, and I think that's down to Kate Abdo. And as for her asking to do a face-off, I'm telling you now, that's either the director or the producer in her ear saying, all right, stand them up to do a face-off. That's not her. She's not doing that. Someone's telling her to do it. And obviously Bob's like, he didn't want it to happen because he thought maybe these guys were going to do fisticuffs and then the fight would have been off. So I can understand Bob's side of it, but it doesn't mean that she did a shit job, because she didn't do a shit job. She didn't at all. That isn't easy. That moderating shit where you're asking a question, you're getting one-word answers isn't easy. And when Tyson opened up and Wilder opened up, she kind of just sat back and let them go at each other. And that's the best thing you can do. So Bob, just a dinosaur, man, a dinosaur. And I even saw what he did with Mike Coppinger and got Mike Coppinger kicked out of the press. So it's like, you can't ask, like these, in boxing, it's almost like you can't ask difficult questions. You're not allowed to kind of question the big promoters, because if you do, you're going to get your accreditation revoked. And it's just such an ancient fucking dinosaur sport sometimes. It really is. Let's, if we can, quickly look at that Liverpool card. Obviously headlined by Liam Smith versus Anthony Fowler. There isn't no DAZN boxing show, which I think is a bit disappointing. Because obviously, as you guys know, I would have been there today. I would have gone today, but there is no DAZN boxing show. Me and Tony did interview Liam Smith, Anthony Fowler, Ted Cheeseman, and Shannon Courtney. So those videos will hopefully be on the DAZN boxing platform today. I think it's an absolutely fantastic fight card. I really do. And I'm not just saying that because, oh, the DAZN connection. No, I just think this is a great fight card with so many good fights. So many. Like even Luke Willis versus Ryland Charlton, I can't wait for. Shannon Courtney versus Jamie Mitchell. This fight was supposed to happen in fight camp. Shannon Courtney obviously got injured. Now, Jamie Mitchell, very good amateur in America, a lot older than Shannon. She's 36 now, has a bit of pop. A few Americans are saying this is a bit of a banana skin for Shannon Courtney, so we'll see how she does with Jamie Mitchell. Kieran Conway versus James Metcalf. I mean, come on. If you're not a fan of that fight, I don't know what to tell you. Ted Cheeseman versus Troy Williamson is another good one as well. And then obviously the main event, Liam Smith versus Anthony Fowler. There's a lot on this card, you know. Really, really good card. Tasha Jonas, I don't know what's going on with her. She's still got a TBA. And what are we, 3 days out? So, you know, I spoke to Tasha about 3 weeks ago and she was like, yep, she's on the card. I mean, for her to be a TBA, I wonder if there's something going on behind the scenes with Tasha. And maybe she's on her way to Sky Sports and she might not feature on this card. I don't know. As for the main event, Liam Smith didn't lose his last fight to Kurbanov. That fight he had in Russia. I thought he won at 7-5, maybe even 8-4. So Liam Smith isn't coming off a loss. So if the narrative is coming off a loss, then you're like, okay, maybe he's on the slide. He's not coming off a loss. I thought he won the fight and he won it away from home against an unbeaten fighter. So that really should be a good win. Now, if you're giving him the win, is he still fringe world level? Remember, former world champion. Is he that? I think he still is that. I think that there's still a bit left with Liam Smith. Anthony Fowler isn't fringe world level. So Anthony Fowler's taken a couple of steps up here. Liam Smith's taken a couple of steps down. We've seen something similar here when Carl Froch fought George Groves. And it was like George Groves, who was not world level at the time, but very, very good. Carl Froch certainly was world level. And we saw what happened, right? I mean, George Groves nearly caused a massive upset. I think Liam Smith switched on for this one, as I don't think Carl Froch was back then. I just think Liam Smith's just a bit too good for Anthony Fowler. Anthony Fowler's changed up a couple of things with that link up with Shane McGuigan, but I don't know if he's done enough, and I don't think he's had a fight against a good opponent for me to see it yet. I don't think we've seen that. Say what you want about Liam Smith, him not being world level, and some people might even argue that he's not fringe world level. He's just better than domestic level, isn't he? He is, let's be honest. Now, when I say to a lot of people that I think the 154-pound division over here is good, it's not including Liam Smith. I'm thinking Liam Smith's above that. I'm thinking Fowler, I'm thinking Eggington, Cheeseman, Metcalf, Kieran Conway, Hamza Shiraz. I'm thinking all those, Troy Williamson. I'm not thinking Liam Smith. Liam Smith's above that. So we'll see if Anthony Fowler can kind of step away from the pack and compete with Liam Smith at a different level. Let's just call it European level for argument's sake. I think Liam Smith will get the job done here. I think it will be points. Look, I interviewed Liam Smith twice in the last couple of weeks, and he's even openly said he loses this, you can't come at your house. You can't come at your house in Liverpool. This fight's got a lot of heat and a lot of spice kind of simmering underneath it. Trust me. Like, they really should do a Max Kellerman style face-off head-to-head thing here. I mean, this and not enough's being done to push this, because these two guys do not like each other at all. Like, remember the Fowler Scott Fitzgerald one? Times that by 100 for these two. Times it by 100. And it's going to be a fucking cracking atmosphere. It really is. Again, I'm allowed to go, and Matchroom saw it. I remember I'm not working, but Matchroom kind of just have, allowed nicely, put me up in a hotel and said, calm down. But I really want to do the live watch along of Fury Wilder. So I'm still kind of debating what to do here. But I think it's going to be a cracking atmosphere. It really is. All right, let's see if there's any news. You know, one thing I did see, which I think is massive, and I don't know where it is. Look, there's so much, by the way. This is going to be a long video. First of all, David Price has retired. Everyone's been asking what's going on with David Price. He hasn't, you know, we normally see him on these cards, don't we? These kind of Matchroom cards, the big ones. He's always kind of there or thereabouts. We haven't seen him. He has now officially called it quits. Decent career, right? Decent career. I think some maybe expected a bit more from it. Some maybe kind of said, okay, he kind of, you know, went where he was supposed to go. I remember there was a time when people thought that David Price could beat Tyson Fury. Do you remember that? That must have been about 7, 8 years ago, maybe a bit longer. Maybe so. That's kind of the hype around David Price at the time. Frank Maloney was really building him, and then up came Tony Thompson, and that was that. That was that. And then he had a couple of bad defeats after that. But look, decent career nonetheless. Made some good money being on those big undercards, and you know, hopefully there's a career in training there, because he speaks a good game. He understands the boxing business. So hopefully a trainer or maybe a manager. Liverpool's a hotbed for boxers, and he's obviously got a lot of respect from the Liverpool community. The Lopez Kambosos thing is just crazy, isn't it? It's absolutely crazy. The fight will now be showed, and this is massive. It will now be shown by Matchroom DAZN. So DAZN have the rights to this fight now in America. That's big. That's big. It might not be, you know, a Gervonta Davis or Errol Spence, but to get TEOFIMO Lopez on DAZN is huge. I think this now could be the end of Triller when it comes to real boxing events. They might still do, you know, those fucking YouTubers and TikTok stuff, but in terms of real boxing, I think that's them done. I think they're done now. And again, I think it's massive for DAZN to get that fight, really is. So yeah, hopefully, I mean, with DAZN getting it, fingers crossed your boy's being flown out to America to work on it. Fingers crossed. There have been some whispers. I can't confirm anything yet, but it would be nice to go out to America and work on it in America as opposed to kind of what I've done here. It would be nice. We'll see. We'll find out very, very soon, I guess. 2 secs. What's this one? What? Ricky Burns has inked a promotional pact with Probellum. I thought he had retired. Oh God, yeah, he's fighting. He's fighting. Ricky Burns. I don't know how many. What's the fight deal? Yeah, there's a statement here from Richard Schaefer saying Ricky is one of the best fighters of this generation, and there are still some huge nights ahead of him. No, they're not. There aren't huge nights ahead of him. I don't know. I like Ricky Burns, by the way. Great guy, but come on, man. Come on. Lee Wood, Michael Conlon, purse bid scheduled for October 11th for WBA featherweight title fight. Now, hopefully this is the legit title and Lee Wood's been upgraded, or at least the legit title was, even if it's not Lee Wood, like hopefully that it's available for this fight. There was a lot of talk about the WBA doing that, and obviously Leo Santa Cruz, the real champion, hasn't fought at this weight class for ages. It might be 2.5 years. So hopefully that's a case of they strip Leo Santa Cruz and a real world title is on the line in this fight. That will be good, and it's a great fight for it, right? Wood versus Conlon. I actually think Lee Wood will get the job done there. I'm still not quite sure about Conlon. I'm not quite convinced yet. All right, is there anything else to talk about? Gervonta Davis versus Rolly Romero. Showtime pay-per-view December the 5th at the Staples Center. Yes, people are going to moan that it's not, you know, one of the big four or the four kings, whatever you call them, but Rolly Romero is unbeaten. He talks a good game as well. I don't mind this fight. I really don't mind this fight. And for me, I just want to see Gervonta Davis busy. Like, when did Gervonta Davis have that last fight? Okay, so he beat Mario Barrios when? 26th of June. So at least he's having 2 fights this year. I would like 3, but at least he's having 2 as opposed to what he did last year, which was 1. And that was the Leo Santa Cruz win. The Barrios thing's interesting. Obviously, look, I spoke to, Am I allowed to? Yeah, I can say this. I was at fight camp with one of Barrios' trainers, and they were already talking about Barrios going up to 147. Like, Barrios can't make the weight for 140. That was what was going on behind the scenes. They had planned a fight for Barrios. And this is not to take anything away from Gervonta, by the way, but they had planned a fight for Barrios at 147. And then they got the call from Gervonta Davis's team about the fight. Obviously, the biggest money fight for Barrios that he's ever had, right? Maybe more than 5 or 6 fights combined for him. They didn't want the fight because they knew Barrios is struggling to make 140, but they took the fight. The reason I say this is because we never know what goes on behind the scenes with fights being made. But they said, look, they had to take the fight. So look, the next time you will see Barrios will be at 147. Barrios struggled to make the 140 limit, struggled. But again, you know, you get that call from Gervonta Davis, you take the fight. But yeah, Rolly Romero, good fighter. I don't mind that fight at all. Obviously, he's coming off the Anthony you get win. It is you get, isn't it? So look, good fight for December. I think Luis Ortiz is on the undercard of that fight. He's trying to see if he can get Joe Joyce to come to America to fight. Again, Joe Joyce will travel. Don't mind that at all. What else have we got here? Is there anything else before we pack up? By the way, these Fury first yesterday, or was the press? Yeah, it was yesterday. Was the first time that Deontay Wilder really opened up about the Fury cheating things. It was the first time, right? Again, and this is why I give respect to Kate Abdo. She asked the questions, and people were giving her stick. But anyway, it was the first time he spoke about the wild boar meat. He spoke about like Fury taking injections up the bum and stuff. But look, I think the loaded gloves one, I think, is far-fetched, right? It's a bit silly, all that kind of stuff, and the spiking of the drink. But the boar meat one's legit. No one wants to talk about it. Everyone seems to like brush it under the carpet for some reason. That's legit. That happened. Did it not? That happened. And it's strange because I was even looking at Gabriel Montoya's Twitter page. I spoke to Gabriel Montoya, knows so much about performance enhancing drugs and boxing. And he's like, why does everyone continually talk about Canelo's clenbuterol, which again, from tainted meat, and no one ever mentions Tyson Fury's? Like, no one ever mentions it. And you know what I saw? I think when Deontay Wilder mentioned that, like actually said it, wild boar meat, I think Tyson Fury looked a bit rattled. I think he was like, oh, no one's ever said this to me. Like, I think he looked a bit rattled. And look, I can't wait for it. I know some people have talked about the mind games and Fury's got into Wilder's head and Wilder maybe has got into Fury's head. That means fuck all. Like, these guys are going to have a scrap and all that, you know, I can see it in his eyes, he's scared. These two are not scared of each other. Both of them, know the dangers of this fight. And I think we as fight fans are lucky that we've finally had a good little run in boxing. And I think it's going to be an absolutely epic fight card. Oh, sorry, one second. Just want to see who J-Rock's fighting. He's on the card, former 154-pound champion. Who is he fighting? Because the last time I looked, it was TBC. Let's see if there's an opponent there. Julian Williams versus, okay, no one really much. Vladimir Hernandez, who is 12-4. Okay. I won his last 2, but yeah, Julian Williams should beat him, and then he's back in the mix at 154 pounds. Jared Anderson's fighting as well, the unbeaten heavyweight. A couple of other heavyweights as well. Victor Vikrist is fighting. Jared Anderson's fighting Vladimir Tereshkin, who's unbeaten, 22-1. Interesting. Look, great card. Honestly, one of the best cards of the year. 2 really good cards, if you ask me. Fuck me. Didn't know Edgar Berlanga was fighting as well on this. Dude, this is a card in the blood. Didn't know that. Okay, anyway, all right. Should be a good night of boxing. Peace.